Hello everyone, what a fantastic point that was at Craven Cottage, but it's match day 22, match preview, AFC Bournemouth taking on Blackburn Rovers at the Vitality Stadium on Saturday. Got another great guest for us on this video, Mark McAdam from Sky Sports. We've also got an opposition view from Rovers Chat. We want to get your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel, help us try and get to 800 and also hit the like button. Let's get on with a preview. What a guest we have this week to prepare for the latest game for AFC Bournemouth versus Blackburn. He has Bournemouth in his heart. You're best known for his variety of work on Sky Sports. He was mingling with Euro 96 stars in the summer. It's the one and only Mark McAdam. How's your season going, Mark?
Yeah, very good, thank you. You've given me the big build-up there, and I'm sure there's going to be some disappointed fans watching at home, expecting a bigger guest than me. But yeah, no, season's good so far, Kirk, and looking forward to a busy festive period.
I could have put in there as well that you're not a bad six-a-side footballer as well. So,
but then you'd be
just
lying.
to add to it. Tell us a bit about the boys of '96. Then must have been a great feeling to be able to do that. How was it?
Do you know what? It was the most incredible week of my life. It was an idea I had for a TV show a few years back, actually, and we'd originally commissioned it at Sky. But then this thing called COVID and a pandemic came along. So we had to delay filming the show for a whole year. Of course, the Euros was delayed as well by a year. So I had a whole year to sort of plan it and work it out and think about what I could do and all that sort of stuff. And basically, for those that haven't seen the show, my kind of format was I had 7 days to try and speak to as many members of Terry Venable's Euro 96 England squad that I possibly could. I had to get them to sign my shirt. And then I had to get them to agree to come to my reunion, which was on the last day of the week. So it was a bit of a challenge, but it was immensely fun. I just spent a whole week going down memory lane, speaking to some of the boys of 96, finding out some of the stories, finding out what happened in the hotel, what the camp was like, because, of course, this was 25 years ago. So the culture was a little bit different to what it is now. Footballers in modern times, they can't do anything. They can't leave the hotel. They can't speak to anyone. They can't drink alcohol. They can't eat sweets, or they can't have ketchup with their tea. They can't do anything. Whereas the boys of 96 were probably the sort of the last of the old school footballers, where they were sort of characters and personalities in themselves. They were allowed a glass of wine. They were allowed to have a beer after a game. And they were allowed to sort of just let loose a little bit and have a bit of fun and be a little bit cheeky and mischievous. So that was what made the show really exciting, was that I spent a whole week speaking to footballers about these stories and about what went on and what it was like to play in a major tournament. And of course, up until Euro 2020-21, Euro 96 was the biggest achievement for an England side in a European Championships. They got to the final. They missed out on penalties against Germany. But it was always looked back upon as being a really fond summer. That people look so fondly back on that summer. They have great memories of the team, great memories of the weather and the way the football just united the whole country, which was exactly what happened this summer. But of course, it is quite remarkable. 25 years later, England get to the final. They get so close to winning the Euros. So it kind of puts Euro 96 on the back burner now. So I was so pleased that I got to do the show at the time I did, where people still look back so fondly on that year. So yeah, incredible show. It's on YouTube, and yeah, hopefully I'll get to make another few shows like that. Maybe we could do an AFC Bournemouth one. Maybe go back to the 2002-03 team that won at the Millennium Stadium, or even the team in 2015 that got promoted to the Prem. There's some special teams that that have been at Dean Court over the last few years and whatnot, particularly since I was a young boy. So maybe we could do a special. But yeah, no, it's an incredible show, and I absolutely loved every second of it.
You've said it now, and it's on YouTube, so we've got to make it happen. It's an amazing series. Go and check it out. I'll put a link in the description, actually. And my hero, it was my real first tournament, actually, watching the national team. I was 11. The World Cup 90, I was only 5. Gazza was my hero. He was a player I definitely wanted to play like. So, yeah, go and check it out. Right, let's get on with the match preview then. There's only one place to start, isn't there, Mark? And that's Friday night. Fulham 1, Bournemouth 1. That is 4 games now for AFC Bournemouth without a win. But I think we're all in agreement. That was a good point on the road.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you watched the game, you knew it was going to be tight. You knew it was going to be nip and tuck. You knew that both teams had goal scorers with Aleksandar Mitrovic and Dominic Solanke. And in the Championship, if you've got a goal scorer that can just pick up something in the box and find the back of the net, you know you've always got half a chance to pick up 3 points. So it was always going to be tight. The top 2 going toe-to-toe on Sky Sports on a Friday night under the floodlights. It was cold at Craven Cottage. But I think you walk away looking at that thinking it could have been a lot worse. There's a secret part of you that thinks, I wish we'd just hung on, because throughout moments in that second half, they were chucking absolutely everything at the back 4, at Mark Travers, and Travs kept coming up with big saves at the right time. There was blocks on the line. We just had a little bit of luck as well, and you just sort of thought, maybe this is our day. But inevitably, it always felt like they might get a goal. They got the goal, but the most important thing, they did get second. And I think if you go to a team that's top of the Championship, away from home, and pick up a point, you can only be pleased with that. So I think it was, not the best performance, but really good in spells. A quality goal for Solanke at the start of the second half. What was it, 6 seconds or something like that? So that was great to see. And just a really good, vibrant performance. Fantastic away support as normal. And the most important thing is that we are still in the top 2. And if it stays like that for the rest of the season, we'll be going back to the Premier League.
I was drinking in that Parker ball when we scored 6 seconds from kickoff. It was a battle. It was a battle of the strikers, as you say. But there's another man we need to talk about, a depleted defence that we have in our squad at the moment. Steve Cook came back in wearing that red and black shirt against Coventry. He also started alongside Cahill. Some fans worried about the pace we might lack at the back. But I tell you what you get with Steve Cook is heart, power and strength. And he threw his body on the line. But we're not surprised, are we, Mark?
Absolutely. Is anyone surprised? Because I'm not. That's what Steve Cook has been doing throughout his time at Bournemouth. It's the type of character and defender he is. And you just saw all of his qualities come out in one game there. The thing about, everyone talks about lack of pace, but defenders, when you're experienced, if you've not got that pace, you just drop off 5 yards. But what you don't have in pace, you make up for in ability to read the game and experience. That you have from playing 300 or 400 matches. And, look at that defensive partnership at the back there, Gary Cahill and Stephen Cook. There's Premier League winner in there. There's a Champions League winner in there. There's a Europa League winner in there. There's someone that's played up and down the EFL and played in the Premier League in a number of seasons and not far off 1,000 appearances in football. So a little bit of pace that might be lacking, yes, but they more than make up for it in terms of heart, determination and character and spirit. And I just think just old-fashioned defensive quality, John Terry, Tony Adams, those types of players that they lived and breathed to stop the ball going in the back of the net. And if that means chucking my face in front of the ball, then that's what I'll do. I will do anything to make sure that ball doesn't hit the back of the net. And that's what you saw from Steve Cook. And it's clearly been a challenging season for him. He's not been involved. He's not played as many games as he'd liked. He started the campaign with a little niggling injury from the back end of last season. So he's had to be patient. He's had to wait for his opportunity. And what he's shown to Scott Parker in the last couple of matches is that he's more than got enough quality at this level still. And it'd be interesting to see the dynamic between the club and Steve Cook now, because there'll be players, there'll be managers from other clubs looking at him going, he's not that old. He's out of contract in the summer. Therefore, I could start speaking to him potentially in January. And he is exactly the type of die-hard defender that I need to make a big difference to my squad. So, yeah, I think he's earned the right to play in Scott Parker's 11. He's now got to keep those performances up and make sure that he's playing every single game between now and the end of the season.
I'm slightly worried that there's a certain team up north, Mark, that could do with a few good defenders. But anyway, maybe for another day, that conversation. Let's move on to the opponents on Saturday then, Blackburn. Now, some say if you're going to have a good chance of getting promoted from the Championship to the Premier League, you need good money and sometimes some parachute payment help. Well, do you know what? Blackburn are completely thrown that out the window. They've barely spent £1 million. Yes, they're living off one player potentially in Brereton Diaz. But Tony Mowbray seems to be doing a good job.
Well, Tony Mowbray is another experienced manager at this level. He's played at the highest level. He's had a big experience in the Premier League and with Celtic, and he's been at Blackburn for some time now. So inevitably, when a manager stays at a club for a longer period of time, he gets the opportunity to build something. And what I find astonishing is that they sold Adam Armstrong, their best striker, last season, and they've already found someone to replace him. The thing about Brereton as well is that he was bought for £7 million. So wow. He's performing like a striker should do when they cost £7 million. January 2019, he went to Blackburn from Nottingham Forest. So, he's got 17 league goals this season. But back to Tony Mowbray, I'm really impressed with what he's done. Doesn't surprise me. Of course, there's the old connection between Peter Grant, who used to be Tony Mowbray's number 2 for a number of years. So I've always taken an interest in Tony and his sides and the way they play and how he's got on from Peter Grant being down at Bournemouth many years ago. So I've always taken an interest in Tony, and it's no surprise. Like you say, the Championship this season, probably a slightly different league to what it has been in the past, because you don't have sides that can go and spend 5, 10, 15, 20 million pound on players. You've only got 3 teams really that have got that parachute money that can spend any cash. But even then, you look at Sheffield United, there's no guarantees that you'll be mixing it in the top 2 or 3. So what you've got is a very level playing field with the Championship. And you've got teams that are actually up near the sharp end because they deserve to be there because of the team spirit, the unity, the way they play. And it's not about individuals in the Championship this season. It's about collective teams playing in the right way. And that's what you've got with Queen's Park Rangers and Stoke and Blackburn. Just good teams. No standout players, really, but just a lot of quality together. Playing really well. So, it's going to be a fascinating game, of course. Blackburn are on a really good run themselves. They've not lost many games recently. They've won their last 3. They look exciting going forward. And I think this will be a real challenge for Bournemouth. But every week's going to be a challenge now. When you're in the top 2, you're there to be shot down. People want to beat you. People raise their game when they turn up to Fulham and Bournemouth. And Blackburn will no doubt do the same. But I'm just hoping that we have the type of response that we wanted off the back of our first defeat against Swansea, where we won 4-0. Hopefully, we'll have another similar response to a poor recent period in terms of results, not necessarily performances, but certainly results. We haven't won for a little while, so hopefully we can get back to winning ways against the Blackburn side. That will be a tough challenge, but I think we've more than got enough quality to take them on and win.
Well, at this part of the preview, let's get some more inside information on Blackburn Rovers. I caught up with Rovers Chat on this latest opposition view. And for our latest opposition view on this match preview, it's a pleasure to welcome Dan from Rovers Chat onto the channel. How you doing, Dan? How's your season going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I think it's going better than anyone expected, really. If you spoke to any of our fans at the start of the season, I've been honest, relegation, we're expecting more than a 4th place, 5th place. It's just been really good, and who knows when it'll end. It might die off soon, but we're enjoying it while it lasts.
And I will put Rovers Chat's details in the description, so check them out after this video. And I must admit, Dan, we did put Blackburn low in the table when we did a predictor at the start of the season. But tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I saw last year as an outsider that some Blackburn fans wanted Tony Mowbray on his way out. But he's got you into 4th. You're on 36 points. Your form is fantastic going into this game. Is he winning a few fans back?
I think so. I think it's been quite... That's been the story of his time here, I think. I think the first year or 2, everyone were behind him, and it's kind of gone up and down a bit, back and forth with it, really. But as you say, we're sat in fourth. You can't really grumble at the moment, can you? So I think everyone's behind him, and I think everyone realises the job he has on his hands. But we're defying expectations so far.
You won your last fixture as well in match day 21. That was a 1-0 win against Preston. But do tell us about this form. It's ridiculous. And actually, it's off the back of losing 7-0 to Fulham. It's almost like they got a bit of a hiding in the changing room, and then they've come out and said, all right, well, we aren't that bad. And as I said, your form's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we were all as surprised by that 7-0 as everyone. I know they're a good side, and they're going to go up this year, aren't they? Alongside yourselves. And I think we all knew what we were facing up against, but we're 2-0 down at half time with 10 men, and then they come out and score 5 more. It probably could have scored 10 more, and that's just very close chances. It could have been any scoreline they wanted. But we've just responded so well. I mean, I think it's 6 wins in a draw, 5 wins in a draw since, and we just look, I don't want to use the word unstoppable, but we do at the moment. We look like we'll face up anyone we play. We fighting for every ball, winning every ball. We've had players out as well. We've still not got Bradley Dack back, who everyone knows about in this division. It's really good to see at the moment. I'm worried about this weekend more than anything now.
I tell you what, we can't not talk about him then. I mean, you cashed in on Adam Armstrong. You've barely spent £1 million, but you've got Ben Brereton Diaz with 17 goals out of your 35. He's got 3 penalties in there as well. He scores most of his right foot. Tell us about him then. He's fired you into that 4th position.
I think I found it hard to explain to everyone who's asked about him, really. Signed him for 7 million the first year we come up, which we never expected to spend that money. We didn't spend that money since we signed Jordan Rhodes 6 years before. He's just 1 goal in his first season, I think 1 in his second season. He scored 7 in the lockdown year, and then we were like, you know what, he might reach double figures this season. Went off and played for Chile in the summer, and it's completely changed. I'm adding Diaz on to end of his name. He's up to 17 now. You watch him, and I don't think it's that much of a different player. I just think he's getting his chances. He takes his chances. He don't get many, but he's putting them in the net. Anyone who's seen the goal from Saturday, one of the best players in the world scores that. You don't see the end of it over Twitter, the way he's edited it in. It's just been the best story I've seen in football, and long may it continue.
And this is going to be a tough game for Bournemouth as well. But when you look at Blackburn facing Bournemouth, I mean, are you taking it as a free hit, or are you coming there thinking we've got half a chance? I mean, when you look at this Bournemouth side, what worries you going into this game on Saturday?
I think it's just the quality in the names. I think you think of Lewis Cook, you think of, well, you've got Gary Cahill at the back. You see, everyone knows who Gary Cahill is. He's played that many years. Obviously, Solanke scored in the goals. You look through that team, and I think you think it's like a typical side that's just come down, that's got all these players of quality. And I look at it as a free hit, but I mentioned that the other day to a few Rovers fans, and I got the look like we can actually go and win it, which I'd just be happy to get a point. I'd be very happy to take a point.
But I assume Tony Mowbray would look at this game and say, look, Blackpool came back from 2-0 down at Bournemouth. Coventry did it as well. And teams have taken points off us. We're not in great form at the moment, but we are desperate to get back to winning ways. It is going to be a tough game, would you say, Dan?
Yeah, definitely say it. I think the way it is that you've got that quality, and what we found against Fulham was that quality did it. And I think for us, I think we'll go for a point. I don't think we'll push for all 3. I think we'll sit back and just try and hit you on the counter and nick a goal, and then hopefully a 1-0 wins, what I think everyone wants at the club.
And is that what you're going for, Dan? Is that your score prediction? Or are you just trying to get out with a 1-1 or a 0-0 like we were at Fulham?
I think it's 1-1. I do think you'll win, but I can't back us to lose, and I'll go for a 1-1.
I mean, I am going to remain positive. I'll give my score prediction at the end of the preview, but this is finely balanced as we're so desperate to get back to winning ways. And we might speak to you again in the second part of the season. But do you think you can hang in there? Do you think you can stay with the pack?
It's one of them. I think under Mowbray every season we fell around February, And I think if we get to February, if we reach the end of February and we're up there, I'll start to believe. But we're famous for the February drop, and it just worries me a bit that we might just drop off a little.
I mean, it is credit to you, though. You, as I said, I think you spent less than £1 million, and losing the likes of Armstrong and Harvey Elliott, whatever's going on at Blackburn, whatever Tony Mowbray's doing, and Brereton sticking the goals away, it's a full credit to you. And we wish you all the best on Saturday. We hope it's a good game, Dan, and we wish you all the best on the channel as well. But thanks for coming on for this latest Opposition View.
No, thanks for having us.
Thank you to Rovers Chat for that input on Blackburn Rovers, and you can check out their details in the description. Mark, potentially, is the pressure off Blackburn and the pressure on Bournemouth going into this game?
I think the pressure's on both sides. I think Blackburn Rovers fans will be looking at their recent results, looking at the way they're playing. They're mixing it and shaking it with the playoffs, and they'll be going, this is our year, this is our time, this is where we get back to the promised land of the Premier League. And the expectation levels at Blackburn have just kept going up and up and up and up. And people will be expecting them to try and get a serious challenge together and be there come April or May. So I think the pressure is definitely on Tony Mowbray's side. And clearly it will be on Bournemouth as well, because they haven't won in some games now. So therefore, you'd want that gap between second and third to be as big as you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And particularly in a home game, you have to perform in front of your own fans. We know that the Vitality Stadium will be packed out. We know that people will be there in voice, in full voice to support the team. This is a really key festive period now. There's games that will be coming in short, sharp sequences, and you want to get to January the 1st being hopefully top of the league, hopefully with a really nice cushion, and that means winning games, particularly those at home.
And I'm going to put pressure on you now, Mark, because I want you to sort of go into Scott Parker's shoes. We're not quite sure yet what players will be available. Yeah, absolutely. And we're not quite sure yet what players are going to be available, because we're recording this before the press conference. But we're going to go through the predicted 11 for this game. Okay, so something to bear in mind here, Mark, is we're trying to predict what Scott Parker's going to do, not necessarily what we want Scott Parker to do. So what I've got is a lineup almost there. So I've got my Mark Travers in goal, Jack Stacey right back, Gary Cahill, Steve Cook, and Adam Smith. Now, a couple of key points here. I think a few weeks ago, potentially, we would have tried to rush Lloyd Kelly back in. But after a good performance from Steve Cook and Cahill, I'm comfortable for them to get Lloyd Kelly right. Maybe we still leave him out for a few weeks. And then you've got the Adam Smith left back dilemma. I think we all know, and a lot of fans don't really like it, but he did a good job the other night. I wouldn't want to persist the whole season with it, but can you see that being the same back four for this game?
Yeah, I can see that being the case. You could argue that if Lloyd Kelly is fit, you could put him at left back. That's a role that he's played a number of times before. That's something that possibly Scott could be looking at. Or alternatively, Scott could think, well, I tell you what, I want to keep Cookie in the team. I want to keep Gary in the team. Maybe I'll go to a back three, which gives you that little bit more natural width with the wing backs that can go forward. I think everyone knows that Jack and Adam Smith are far better going forward than they are defensively. So maybe that could be a possible option, go three at the back with the wing backs. But again, alternatively, if we stick with that team that you've gone with there, I think, Cookie and Cahill at the back with Smudge at left back and Jack at right back, that could be quite solid. And I think, off the back of a decent, solid defensive performance against Fulham, there would be no need to necessarily change that, although Lloyd Kelly would give you that little bit of pace if he was available.
I was going to move further up the pitch, Mark, but now I've got to pick up a few points you've just said there. The back three is quite controversial for AFC Bournemouth fans. I'm sure you'd appreciate that. And then it's the Lloyd Kelly comment, because it's quite a debate we're having on the channel at the moment. Some are saying play Lloyd Kelly left back now, keep Cookie in the team. My opinion has been that I think Lloyd Kelly has been sort of by default pushed out there. Last season, he'd done well against Norwich, and I know he can play there, but it's quite clear in my eyes he wants to be a centre-back. And I think for his career and his progression, we need to keep him in that role. But I can understand that now certain fans are like, but I want Cookie and Cahill. So what do you do when you've probably got Lloyd Kelly's career in the back of Scott Parker's mind?
I'm pretty sure that Scott Parker is not thinking about Lloyd Kelly's career. He's thinking about winning games for Bournemouth. And sometimes players have to play out of position if it's the right thing to do for the team. So I very much think that if Scott Parker thinks the strongest 11 has Lloyd Kelly in it, at left side is centre half, on the left side of a 3, in the middle of a 3, or at left back in a 4, he will do whatever is right for Bournemouth. And that's the thing that I think, on this occasion, it's just about let's get the right performance, get the right result. So I think most Bournemouth fans will be happy. If Lloyd Kelly's in the team, they'll be happy. If Steve Cook's in the team, they'll be happy. If Gary Cahill's in the team, they'll be happy. I think, whatever way or formation those guys fit into, I think they'll all be quite content that Scott's trying to play the best players in the team at the same time.
Let's jump the holding midfielder role then. That front 5, I'm convinced, will be what it is. That'll be Billing, Lerma, Christie, Anthony and Solanke. Question mark over Lerma, whether he gets an extra suspension, but we've thrown him in at this stage. Are you happy with that front 5, Mark?
Yeah, I think they're all playing really well. Solanke picks himself, first name on the team sheet, in goal-scoring form, playing well. Jayden Anthony, again, for a young lad, he keeps stepping up. Every single time you think, is he going to be able to keep that consistency level up there in the Championship? He keeps putting in solid performances. And even when he has had a poor performance, he's responded in the right way. Ryan Christie is one of those pieces of business you look back on, you think, what an incredible piece of business by the club. A great lad, great attitude, and he has so much ability to unlock defences. So great to see him involved. Billing, again, offers that physical presence. He's strong in the air, can set goals up, can score goals. So you can see absolutely why Scott wouldn't divert from playing him. And again, that holding role is perhaps the one sort of question mark as to who could go in there. Jefferson coming back, you'd feel that providing there were no issues there, that he would go into that team because he just brings that little bit of presence and strength through the middle of the park, and he's calm on the ball. So, yeah, I think you're pretty spot on with the team there, Kirk. I can't find too many faults in that.
I'm going to ask you for that final pick then for the holding role. Ben Pearson came back into the squad on Friday. He came off the bench. You got Gavin Kilkenny having a fantastic season, and Lewis Cook looks like he'll be a favourite under Scott Parker when he really hits the ground running. Who are you picking for that holding role on Saturday?
Kirk, you're putting me on the spot. You can find arguments for so many players. The great thing for Scott is he has got genuine options there, and every single one of those midfielders has a different attribute and a different quality. Obviously, Jefferson's got the sort of presence and the experience and the no-nonsense sort of tough tackling, which is always going to be important in a Championship game. Some people say Gavin Kilkenny is arguably Bournemouth's best holding midfielder, and you have to find, you wouldn't find too many people that would find ways to disagree with that. So Kilkenny, obviously we saw Ben Pearson come on and make a real impact against Fulham, and we know that he's tenacious and dogged, and he'll put himself about a bit, and he'll win the ball back and do all the ugly work, but bring something going forward as well. And Cookie as well, coming back from injury, he's got the ability on the ball. I'm really struggling. I know you put me on the spot, but I'd probably go with Gav Kilkenny. He's having a great season, let's get him in there and see how he can do. The great thing is though that Scott's got options, so if things aren't working half time, he can change it around, and he's still got 45 minutes with a new holding midfielder.
Just goes to show how difficult this job is for Scott Parker. But I'm not going to let you change your mind, Mark. We're going to lock in that predicted 11 for this game. Do you agree? Disagree? Let us know in the comments.
Hang on. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let Kurt know.
really important spell coming up for AFC Bournemouth then, Mark. We've got Blackburn on Saturday, followed by Middlesbrough and then QPR just after Christmas. We want to get a score prediction for this game. And how many points do you think Bournemouth need to pick up to keep themselves ahead of the playoffs?
What, for those 3 games?
Well,
minimum 7 points. You'd like 9, but has to be a minimum of 7. If this team is serious about getting promoted back to the Premier League, then you have to win, the majority of your games. We've slipped up a little bit recently, but I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think performances have still been strong. I still think there's a good spirit amongst the players. And even back in 2015, when we got promoted to the Premier League for the first time, there was a spell over February where we didn't win in 5 matches and we still got promoted. Maybe we're having our little bit of a wobble now because every single season, every single promotion team, they do always have a little moment. I think we're perhaps going through that now. So, got to be maximum points against Blackburn. Middlesbrough will be tough. Chris Wilder's done an incredible job there. He's turned things around. They're now looking, into the top half of the table and looking at those playoff places. That'll be a huge challenge, but I'm confident we can go up there and win. The other games are going to be tough. I think the Queen's Park Rangers match will be probably the most difficult game. I tip Queen's Park Rangers to be one of those outside teams that got promoted this season. I still think that they are good. You look at the quality they've got up front with Charlie Austin and Andre Gray. Ilias Chair is, for me, probably the best technically gifted player in the Championship, probably playing the best football this season. I think he's impressive, and they're really solid defensively as well with an experienced manager. Mark Warburton's been there for some time, so he's built a team that he's comfortable with and that can win games. I watched Queen's Park Rangers a couple of times at the start of the season, and they were impressive on both occasions. So I think if we can get through those games with 7 points minimum, then I think that would be acceptable. 6 points would be okay, but 7 points really is the target. And if we're serious about getting promoted, then we need to win every single game.
I'd agree with that, and it does need to start on Saturday. 4 games without a win, and I'm going for 2-1. Can I pin you down to a score against Blackburn, Mark?
I think it's going to be a festive thriller, and I think Bournemouth are going to win 3-2 with a last-minute winner.
Excellent. Sounds amazing. I'll be there in the Steve Fletch stand. Can't wait. Will you have eyes on the game, Mark?
I will have eyes on the game, but I'm actually going to Orlando to see my brother. Wow. So I've got, me and my brother, who's a Bournemouth fan, obviously, we'll probably find a nice bar where we can watch the match and enjoy it and whatnot. So I will definitely be watching. No soccer Saturday for me, so I can relax and enjoy Bournemouth.
Excellent. Sounds amazing. Safe trip. Really do appreciate you coming on this match preview, Mark, because I know that you're very, very busy. But have a good one, and hopefully the Cherries can get a win on Saturday.
Fingers crossed, mate. My pleasure.
Thank you to you, the viewers, for checking out this latest match preview. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We want your predicted 11 and your score prediction. But let's hope the Cherries get back to winning ways.